happening. They always say history repeats itself. My grandson wants to learn to play the guitar. I told him, that's great. No way.
How old is he?
11.
Oh, awesome. Perfect.
And he wants to learn to play the guitar. So I know nothing about music, absolutely nothing. But I do know what I like. And I told him, I've seen, because I watch the American Idol and all these other shows, I see these kids and they're reinventing older styles of music and making it modern again. So I told him, I go, I always liked the Beatles. I go, and I haven't heard anybody really doing much with the Beatles. So why don't you work on that? And I played some of the old songs, he liked it. And he started trying to figure it out, so hopefully he'll do something with that. Maybe one day you'll hear this kid, and that'll be my grandson playing Beatle music. Good morning.
Good morning.
Okay, so let's see. Crime and justice in the new millennium. How many people actually use the internet? Go ahead, hurt your arms trying to raise them up. Everybody, right? We all use the internet. Let me take a quick look, and I would wager a bet that everyone in this class today, this one has been on the internet. Emails. You haven't? You're one. Good for you. Oh, I live on that damn thing. Yeah, I never thought I would be like that, but I am. But what the internet's done, it's shrunk down our world. Things are happening halfway around the world. We know about it almost instantly. It's amazing. Some of the benefits, of course, is we're more aware of what's going on. But again, the negative impact. There's a lot of negative.
Oh yeah, stuff like cyberbullying and stuff like
Cyber crimes.
Yeah.
Yeah, just cyber. We're going to talk a little bit about cyber crimes. We have these fraud, phishing in the Eastern Bloc, and they're really good at it. And they send these emails that look legitimate, alerting you that your banking has been tampered with, and you must log in, and you must do. They scare the heck out of people. And then when you do, you just gave them access to everything you have. And they rob you blind. So with all the good, there's always that darn bad element, that negative element. In my lifetime, and I'm not that old, I know I'm up here and I am old. I remember the first time I logged into the internet. And this is going to blow you away. 1976. 1976. I was dating a girl, and her sister was going to Berkeley at the time. She had a little apartment up in Oakland. So we drove up to Oakland, we were going to go watch a concert, and her sister was all excited about this new technology. And it was a weird looking device about this big that you would take the handset off and you put it on this device. It was not even dial-up, it was a direct link to the school. And so you'd have access to their servers. And then on the little screen, it was all green with bright lettering. And I believe the language was called Cobalt or Basic, if there's any computer programmers in here. Yeah, I think it was either Cobalt or Basic. We're talking dinosaur, but it was still the coolest thing because we were interacting with other people via this device. And of course, it's really come a long way. So where are we going? That's where we've been. But now just let your imaginations run wild. Where do you see ourselves, technological advances, in this 5 years, 10 years? We don't have to look that far in the future. Technology is advancing so fast, blinding speeds. What's next? Yeah, Frank.
I don't know how to describe it, but during World War I, they advanced so much in technology, and they tried using old tactics to fight each other. I kind of feel like it's going to be the same thing with technology, but not fighting each other. Just in general, people are not going to be able to adapt to how fast the internet is.
I'm going to piggyback on that thought in just a minute, Ron.
With regards to like phishing and scamming, I've heard that some people are using AI voice models to imitate people's family members. Call them up, be like, "Hey, I'm on a payphone. I lost my debit card. I need you to send me $100."
Wow.
It doesn't work well yet.
No, but it's in its
will.
infancy. Yeah, they're developing it, Chet.
I don't know how well it's going, but has anyone heard about the Neuralink?
I can't. The what?
From like Elon Musk's technology.
Yeah, that's terrifying.
Yeah,
I'm
but
never
what is
gonna
it?
do it.
What is it?
Scares me so much.
Neuralink.
It's like
Chip
an
in your brain.
implant.
Oh, Neuralink. Oh, hell no.
Yeah,
But you know,
no.
I say that now. Who knows?
Yeah, no.
Yeah, no. I'm like, just the thought of someone being able to hack into that's terrifying.
That is scary. AI scares the heck out of me. And what Frank was talking about, AI,
You watched
artificial
Terminator.
intelligence in warfare, using drones and technology. They want to eliminate the human factor because machines can respond, react so much faster than a human can. Human's going to delay, assess, think about it. And by the time they've done all of this, a drone or an AI technology's already reacted. Something like, I don't know, it's ridiculous how much faster. And they're showing, some of the books that I'm reading, they're showing that warfare will be controlled by whoever develops the AI technology first. And guess who's leading that? China.
Oh, no, I was stretching.
Oh, okay. I thought maybe you had something there. Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say how I do think AI will have a huge part in the future, but I also think like people's natural like abilities will start kind of degrading, like eyesight
Oh,
first,
yeah.
and then
We're gonna become vegetables, right? We're just gonna sit in our couches, let the machines take over.
Like the dudes from Wall-E.
It's gonna become
Like which one?
Wall-E.
Like Wall-E.
I don't know what Wally is, but I think Terminator.
Or it's a movie.
Yeah.
You
It's
know
like a
Terminator was a whole
The
different
robot
level,
and
though.
the world,
Yeah.
like our world of trash. No, that's sad.
Wall-E
What?
was essentially a movie where robots became the caregivers for humankind
There was like a
on a
threat
space
on the
route.
world, and they had to go in like a ship until the world was inhabitable again. But it was.
It's a real movie?
It's
Yeah.
it's a really old Disney movie.
Oh
What's
my gosh, you're
Disney?
making me
Yeah.
feel old by calling it really old.
Sorry.
No, I've never seen that.
This one.
But it's cool.
Gosh,
And
it's
then
a
these are the
really old
Might
movie.
be on the
I'm
Disney
like,
Channel.
that came
Thank
out
you.
like
Oh, wait a
after I
minute.
was
Those are
out
the
of high
people.
school.
That's gonna be us. Yeah, that's gonna be us. We're gonna be a bunch of Wallies laying around, letting the machines do everything.
Let's see.
Yeah.
But to what point?
Yeah, 2008. I was already out of high school.
4.
Remember now, we're gonna be sitting there asking a machine to bring us a beer or a drink, and it's gonna say no because that's not healthy, and they're gonna be taking over.
I graduated
Yeah, Frank.
that year.
I feel like that's projecting, assuming everyone's just gonna get fat and
Of
lazy.
course.
Yeah, some people are.
Of course not. You just take an idea and run with it and see where you end up.
I mean, it depends what the robot brings you, I guess.
Whatever the robot brings you. No, but here's a nice little green drink with alfalfa. No, thank you. Okay, white collar crime. We haven't talked a lot about white collar crime or corporate crime. Used to be that if you incorporated, you could not be held criminal liable. So a corporation would literally get away with murder. Not anymore. Okay, now a corporation is not protected in a criminal court. They go after the officers, okay, because they should have known. Vicarious liability, anybody ever heard of that term? Vicarious liability, you should have known, yeah. When I ran my yard, I had 1,200 inmates, about 40, 50 cops, and I'm in charge. So I have responsibility for anything that happens. I have an inmate get killed in a cell, it's my fault. Because I should have known there was going to be a problem there, and I should have taken action to prevent it. Vicarious liability. Okay? So you can't hide. Yeah.
So if let's say like a corporation like Amazon, one of the workers ended up being a serial killer,
Mm-hmm.
someone could sue the company.
Absolutely. Remember, in a civil court, anybody can sue anybody for anything. They might not win, but sure, they could try. Yeah.
So plausible deniability is not a thing for corporate crime.
Here it is. It depends. It depends how good are the shields you put up. It really does, man. And honestly, it always depends on the money. How much money do you have to throw around to protect yourself? And Amazon, Bill Gates, that's not even an issue.
Wasn't like a
Elon
big
Musk.
guy that got caught with like dirty money or something? Was Jordan Belfort? Is that right? Wasn't he like a big one?
Google
and then
it.
he didn't really get caught, or like he got caught, but he didn't really get in trouble.
There's a couple of the pyramid schemes that were going on with finance. I can't think of the name, bless you. That's allergies?
Yeah.
Wow, that's pretty bad. Yeah, so in the past, what was that? No, white, damn it. It was the Clintons were involved in it. Not Watergate, but it was like a white water or something. And it was the oil industry and finance. And they got caught with their hands in the pocket, but you don't hear about it too much. And it's not just them, everybody's doing it. Politicians, they're your best friends. They'll never lie to you.
Bullshit.
You can trust them. Yeah. It's sad, some of the things they've done. Matter of fact, I don't want to get off topic, but we are talking about corporate here. Anybody ever heard of the bullet train? Isn't that the best thing to happen to California?
Yeah.
Yeah. Where is it now?
Past statute of limitations, that's what it's at.
Yeah, statute of limitations. And Dianne Feinstein? And she was her husband. Her and her husband were behind that
Supposedly
one.
now they're doing another one where they're gonna do a train from Los Angeles to Las Vegas.
We are, the whole state should be embarrassed that we let that happen. They did an article celebrating that they just completed a section of the bullet train that connected the south side of Fresno to the north side of Fresno, and they finished this bridge that went over a river. But the rest of everything's not even developed yet. But they're out there celebrating. It's, I don't know how many $1 billion over budget and how many years behind they are. And they're celebrating. The audacity. But that's corporate crime, guys. And there's nothing worse. You can get held up at a store, somebody bring in a gun and demand, give me all your money. I can respect that. But these people sitting in Sacramento using a pencil to rob us blind, that really does bother me. Okay. So anyway, corporate crime, white collar crime, it happens too often. In my opinion, it doesn't get held accountable enough. Let's see what else we got. The creation of the global capital market created unprecedented opportunities for business to access capital for investors. And these are just some of the types. Money, what's that, crypto?
Currency.
Yeah.
Cryptocurrency, yeah, there you go. People made a lot of money on it. People lost a lot of money on it. If somebody's making money, somebody's losing money. Yeah, well, there is a shift of balance of who's got that power on that specific date. Buying and selling currency in general. Very profitable if you know what you're doing. I don't. So I don't get involved in that. Yeah, I don't. But there are people that do understand all these things. And they do very well. For the most part. We're not so concerned about how well these people are doing. Our focus is when they cheat to accomplish these goals. And there's opportunity for law enforcement in these areas, okay, through government agencies. Let's see, oh, the mortgage scandal. Damn, that was ugly. 2008, I don't think there's any years here. My nephew was involved in one of these mortgage companies. He was the one that would collect all the paperwork from the borrower and coordinate with the lender and make sure that everything was in order. Broker, I think they called him. And in 2008, 2009, he was getting fake documents of assets from these would-be borrowers. And he knew they were fake. And he's telling these people, just put down, instead of you make $50,000, that you make $150,000 a year. That way you get better interest rate and you could buy not only a $400,000 house, but an $800,000 house. So these people got in debt so deep. They were way over their heads, but money was good. They were doing great. My nephew made a killing until it crashed. Somebody pulled the blanket off and revealed all the nasty things that were going on. My house went from $525,000 in 1 month, lost $200,000 in equity, just like that. Because of the scandal, not that I did, but it was artificially inflating the market. We were going down looking for homes to buy. And this was in Hanford, California. So this is a little rural town. Nothing town, really nothing great home. Go to the house. Today, I could buy this house for $250,000, but there's a waiting list. So I said, okay, put me down on the waiting list. There's about 30, 40 people waiting. I'd go the following month. Same house. Now it's worth $275,000. It went up $25,000 in 1 month. I said, okay, well, I'm still interested. Go back a couple months later. You get the idea. Artificially inflating the market. And people were buying in at these higher prices. And when they pulled that blanket down and showed what the house is really worth, which was the $200,000 or so, they lost their ass. Why am I making a payment on, say, a $400,000 home, say $2,000 a month, when the house is only worth $200,000? When my payment should be about $1,000, I'm throwing away $1,000 a month, literally. In my neighborhood where I live, people were leaving in the middle of the night, packing up their things and just leaving their houses behind. They didn't give a damn. Let the bank worry about it. It was ugly. So that's what this reminds me of. It was a terrible time. The market's stable now. You can see you're okay if you want to go on my property. You're okay. Subprime mortgage scandal, that's what they're talking about. Foreclosure rescue scams. The bailout, bait and switch. Banks are never too big to bail out. Bull. Who's going to bail you out? If you overextend yourself, think of this personally. You make $3,000 a month. Okay? You're spending $5,000 a month. You know it's wrong. That's $2,000 a month. Every month, you're overextended. By the end of the year, you're $24,000 in the hole. You did that to yourself. But now you go to your neighbor. You say, hey, listen, I screwed up. I'm $24,000 in the hole, and you have to bail me out. Why? That's exactly what happened here. Of course, it was the banks, and we're talking billions of dollars, but they wanted us as citizens to bail them out. They're not too big to fail. Let them file bankruptcy and go under, and some of them did. Corporate enterprise management fraud typically involves falsifying financial information for their own benefit. Enron case, that was the one I was thinking of. Oil company, obviously. And they're falsifying earnings, saying they're making all this money for their shareholders to add value to their stock. It's fake. And when the real news comes out, the real value of that stock is revealed. And guess what? You just lost, for the individual person, thousands and thousands of dollars. As a country, you're talking billions, because somebody got greedy. The owners of these companies, of course, they padded their own pockets, taking money even from pensions. That's a whole other thing. And now this poor guy's trying to retire at the age of 55. He goes to draw his pension from the company, and there's nothing there for him. But yet the owner of the company is sitting in a yacht, still with billions in the bank. Not good.
Sitting in a yacht in non-extradition company.
Yeah, of course.
Or country.
Yeah, non-extradition agreements. Okay, so corporate enterprise, strategies of control. Civil law strategies, criminal law strategies, and there's that word deterrence. We know these things happen. We know, for the most part, companies, I really do believe, they do their best. They make a product, they're trying to make a profit, they're trying to earn money for shareholders, take care of their employees. I really do believe, for the most part, they're honest. But just like with anywhere else, there's a few that aren't. And those are the ones that give everyone a bad name. Look at law enforcement specifically. We had some incidents with some bad cops doing stupid things. Now all cops are bad. Not true. Same thing with these corporations. Yeah, there's a few bad ones doing some really bad things, but that doesn't mean that they're all bad. If they are, and they get caught, they need to pay a penalty. Deterrence is how that's done. We talked about two kinds of deterrence. What was it?
General and specific.
General and specific. Thank you, Frank. You knew it though, right?
Yeah.
Okay, good job. General and specific. In a civil court, we're talking about big corporations. I file a claim against, let's say, General Motors. One of the cars they manufactured exploded. It just exploded. Don't know why, but it exploded. So I filed a claim. In the next state, every state, these cars tend to explode. Specific model, specific type. After 1 year, a part gets faulty and they explode. In some cases, they've actually injured, and in a few, actually killed people. So we all get together and we file a lawsuit. Okay, class action. Heard that word? Yeah, class action. So we all, because there's more power when you get together. So we file a class action lawsuit against General Motors. We hire investigators. They go in and they find out General Motors knew of this problem before they put that car on the market. Not good. But they weighed out the pros and cons. Changing the manufacturing was going to cost them so much money and time. They figured, well, we know these problems, we'll manage the problems, we'll pay off the claims because it's more profitable. That does happen. Let me finish my story and then we'll get there. Okay, so they decided we're going to just let it roll. We get the class action, we uncover all this terrible stuff. We go to court, and the court finds in favor of us, the claimants. They individually award each of us actual damages. Okay, maybe it's $100,000 a claim. So $100,000 a claim, there's 50 claims. Everybody gets $100,000 actual damage. Then here's the good one, it's called punitive damage. So specific deterrence in this case is that $100,000 that they paid to each individual. The punitive damage is the general deterrence. Now the court's going to send a message so that General Motors understands they should never do this again. On top of that $100,000, we each get $10 million in punitive. Punitive was where the big money comes in, because they want to send a message to the company. They want to make it hurt. So there's a good example of deterrence at work, specific and general. Yeah.
I was gonna say it's kind of like the floor mats for, I think it was the Prius way back. It was causing accidents and stuff, or maybe it was a Honda.
The floor mat?
Yeah, the floor mats, the driver's side floor mats were
Yeah.
causing accidents because it was catching the gas pedal.
Oh, okay. And they knew about it.
Apparently, yeah, and they had to do a recall on.
They have to do recalls, yeah. So companies, they're held accountable to a degree. Now, in my example, I mentioned that there was loss of life.
Bless you. Bless you.
Well, you're both suffering today. Okay, so there was a loss of life. It's up to the court to decide now. Civilly, yeah, they satisfied all these claims. But criminally, should the company be held liable? And if so, who do we go after? That's up to the district attorney's office to figure that one out, where the loss of life occurred. They can do it, but remember, you're talking about a major company. And even as a district attorney's office, say at Riverside County, they got some money, but they don't have enough to go against one of these bigger companies. Yeah.
So is it possible to go against like the entire company, whether like deciding if they shut down or not, or would you have to go after a specific person?
A specific, yeah. I mean, you can't hold a company, just the name, liable for some damage, because there's really nothing there. You have to find the people that made those decisions, who was aware of these defects and chose not to make that correction.
What if a person that was like, kind of like the voice of the company was the one that did wrong?
That could be it
It would
too.
just be him.
It could be, yeah.
So
Usually there's
none
more
of the
people
damage-
involved, yeah.
Right, but like none of the damage would fall on the company itself, it would fall on that person.
Civil court is pretty cool. If I know John here has limited funds, because he works for the company, General Motors, okay? I could sue him, but the return, what am I getting out of him? Not much. I gotta go for the company, because the company's got the deep pockets. So if you ever see a lawsuit, we're gonna name him first, and then there's a whole list of defendants, because that's the order that we're gonna go after, and who's got the deep pockets. Okay, in those lawsuits I'm talking about, I've been named in so many, it's ridiculous. But my name's usually down here. And it was involving an inmate. Something happened to the inmate, so he's holding everybody accountable, and I happen to be the lieutenant on charge, on duty that day. So I get thrown in the lawsuit. I don't think anything has ever come out of any. And I'm talking about 50 different cases.
Really?
Yeah.
Is it?
No. They usually don't go anywhere. So I don't worry about it. Yeah.
Did you actually have to like go to court or do anything, or was it?
No, never had to go to court. Not in a civil. Yeah, but I've known guys that have because they did some pretty stupid things. But no. I just happened to be on duty that day.
So if you had, like, would you say it would be better to, like, go after the individual people rather than the company?
No, because the individual people don't have the resources.
So it's better to go to the bigger company.
Yeah, yeah. I want to go over who's got the deep pocket, who's got the money. That's where I'm going.
At the same time, they don't have the resources, so you have a better chance of possibly.
That's why they're named in the lawsuit.
Yeah.
But individually, nah.
But then you would, yeah, like, nothing, you wouldn't get anything.
Remember when you win a lawsuit? Okay, say I sued here and I get $100,000. The court's awarded me $100,000. Does he have $100,000 to pay me? Hell no. And if he's smart, if he did, he'd hide it somewhere. I'm never going to see a dime from an individual.
So that's why you would go after.
But if I go after a company, I can attach assets. I have something material that I can go back. An individual, no. Okay, so more detention, enforcement of corporate crime, primarily in the hands of administration department agencies. Decision to pursue criminal rather than civil. Okay, so if we want to sue or actually pursue the issue criminally, it has to depend on the seriousness of the case and the perpetrator's intent, actions to conceal the violation, and prior record. These are just some elements that we need to look for. Okay, so in our example, I've told you that this company was aware of the defect. But did they intend to cause this kind of harm? How are we going to prove the intent? It's going to be difficult. And that's why you don't see a lot of criminal cases. They rather go civil than criminal. Criminal court, you must have a beyond a reasonable doubt certainty to get a conviction. Beyond, that's 100%. Beyond a reasonable doubt. In a civil court, we only need preponderance. Okay? Preponderance. This is the scale. Equally balanced. Put a grain of sand on one end. Tip the scale to our favor, that's all we need. Which one do you think we're more likely to get? Preponderance or beyond a reasonable doubt?
Preponderance.
Hell yeah, every time. Every single time. O.J. Simpson, right? Everybody remembers O.J. If the glove don't
Before their
fit.
time.
Yeah. Criminally, they couldn't find him guilty because they could not convince a jury. But in a civil court, they slammed him because they had preponderance. That's the difference. Which way the government will pursue an action. That really comes into play. Yeah.
So you take it to civil court if you're trying to, like, get something out of the, like, suing, but you take it to criminal if you're trying to get, like, a sentencing?
Individually, we don't make that decision. It's up to the district attorney's office. We can decide if we're gonna go civil, but we can't say, oh no, I want criminal charges. We don't have that authority. Green crime. Hey, don't take offense, but this is the tree hugger crime. Okay? There's people out there that care about trees. Logging, illegal fishing, illegal polluting. Illegal to who? If I have a permit, and I'm thinking of up in Oregon, Northern California, Oregon border, I have a permit, I own a logging company, and I have the rights to clear this area. I have my equipment, I have my people there. We show up, we're gonna start cutting some trees. And as we're coming in, we see a bunch of people literally tied to trees. That's where the term tree hugger came. They did this. They tied themselves to the trees, or they'll drive spikes in the trees, which is ridiculous. But anyway, so they're tied to a tree. They're protesting because there is a species of an owl, this is a true story, spotted owl, that lives in this area. But the government won't acknowledge it. So they've taken the law into their own hands. The logging company had to stop because you can't use your saws and cut these people in half. Too bad. Couldn't do it. So they had to wait. They had to go back to court. And the tree huggers won. they did prove that the spotted owl only lives in this particular area at that time. Yay, right? We saved a bunch of trees.
Yes.
People lost their homes. The company went bankrupt. Banks shut down. Towns went under. Entire communities. Because they counted on the money from this industry to survive. A few years go by. The court was wrong. That spotted owl lives all over the damn place. Not just that area. Whoops. It's tough when it comes to these green crimes. Nobody wants to go out and just cut a healthy tree for no reason, or to hunt dolphin, right? Dolphins are smart, but I'm a tuna hunter. Some dolphins get caught up in my nets. Sorry. So what's whale hunting? That used to be a huge industry. That's terrible.
They made like South Park episodes about it.
South Park. Never seen South Park. I've heard of it though.
Sorry.
But okay, so these are the crimes we're talking about. There's a morality that you want to protect the environment, but to what degree? And there's really, I don't know, right or wrong. It's just whatever side you believe in, and good for you. But it is a crime to violate, because there's laws that protect the environment. So don't do that either. Clean Water Act was one. Endangered species. Oil pollution. Oh goodness, when did that Valdez, that oil spill up north in Alaska? Just, oh, what a disaster that was.
Well, not to mention BP oil spill.
Yeah. Then there was, is that BP, was that
was in the
Valdez?
Gulf of
The
Mexico.
Gulf, that was the other one I was thinking, yeah. And that was off offshore drilling, right?
Yeah.
One of the rigs? Yeah. It's dangerous, but that's where the oil is. And as bad as harvesting oil from these areas and dangerous it is, we gotta have oil. Sorry, we need the petroleum. Can't count on our, I don't wanna say, where are they? Iraq, OPEC. We can't count on the OPEC nations' cooperation to keep oil at a respectable price. Look at what's going on right now, the price of gas. When was the last time anybody filled up?
Yesterday.
Yes.
Yesterday? What'd you pay?
I have like a 10-gallon tank and I pay like 70.
70?
Paid 90.
60?
Paid like
90?
90 to fill up my Avalon.
Your what?
Toyota Avalon.
Toyota. My truck, 60-gallon tank.
Ouch.
Yeah.
You need a Prius.
60. Prius won't tow my trailer.
Are you
Oh shoot.
Yeah.
diesel?
Diesel,
Oh,
yeah.
shit.
Yeah. So when we go on our vacation, I'm going to the East Coast in the fall.
Oh.
Yeah. May 28th, we go to Montana, Wyoming, North Dakota, Minnesota, and then back around and down.
Wyoming is
fire.
really cheap gas.
As soon as you leave California,
Gas
just even
prices
Arizona, drops by about $1.50 a gallon.
Yep.
Yeah. So we budget for the trip. The most expensive item is fuel. And on this one trip, it's gonna be about $3,500 in fuel. The East Coast is about $4.
In Florida, the gas is cheap. It's
Florida?
$3. Yeah.
We're gonna be in Florida. And
Texas was amazing for gas. when I was
Texas isn't bad
stationed.
either, yeah.
Yeah, I think it was like
It's just
$2.28,
California.
and I was like, oh,
I was in
what?
Wyoming just like a couple months ago, and it was like, yeah, it was like $2.75.
$2.70.
Yeah, it was great.
So why are we paying so much here in California?
Because
People
they're
keep voting taxes on it.
Taxes
Keep
on
voting
taxes
taxes.
on taxes.
and
the
also
gas
our
thing.
fuel is less effective than it is in other states because they add ethanol to our fuel. So
And
we're
why?
paying for
Why do we have the taxes? Why do we have the additives?
because
For the environment.
Sacramento's
environment.
freaking
There
retarded.
Politicians. That's what it all boils down to.
Yep.
It all boils down to the politicians.
When they increased the taxes last time, didn't the governor create a special assignment to be able to find out why the gas prices were higher here in contrast to everybody else?
Sure. And
when
what happened to
they found
that?
out it was them, they kept all the money for that special assignment and never released any of the paperwork.
Exactly. And what happened to
So
that?
that he'd get
They're
rid
so
of that.
corrupt, man.
And,
It's-
well, they tried to get rid of him, but he said everybody that didn't vote to get rid of him obviously wanted him in.
Obviously.
Duh.
We're in sad shape, guys. And this is an election year, so it ain't gonna get any better. I got moved. I don't belong in California, that's the bottom line, but, oh well. Okay, so cybercrime. Look at that stupid clock, okay.
Yeah.
Cybercrime. Let's focus now on computers. How much fraud is done over a computer?
Oh.
Insane.
You could rob a bank, never leave your home. Yeah. Bullying, you mentioned that earlier, and that's sad. Cyberbullying. Mike, well, just don't look. Turn it off. Get rid of that Facebook baloney. But I'm not a 15-year-old little girl, so I don't know. It's important, because I really don't. I don't get it. I'm not a part of that culture. Thank God. But I pity them, because I do have grandkids coming up. I wish them the best. You can actually bully somebody.
Oh, yeah, it
Never
was-
leave your house.
It was a lot. It happened a lot back when MySpace was really going
Oh,
on.
that was another one.
There was a
It's
case
still
that,
going on.
Yeah, it's still going
I
on,
think
but
it was someone in Florida. I think it was a girl that got charged with murder because she convinced her boyfriend to do it over text.
To off himself?
Yeah,
Yeah.
like
Wait,
just
wait,
over the
wait.
internet.
Isn't that the one that like they
Yeah.
broke up and then?
Yeah.
Isn't that sad?
Well, I feel like he shouldn't have been like
Oh
was
no
it
no
the other
no!
way
It was a
around?
different one.
Because he's the
yeah,
one
I
who
know
made
what
the
you're talking about, but that was a
Yeah.
different one.
Oh, okay. I was
Yeah.
gonna say,
So
that was
she
really
shouldn't be
interesting.
thrown alive.
Yeah.
The latest one, my wife watches these detective shows and all this. This one wasn't bad. And it was a school shooting, and the kid went in, I don't know how many people he killed, but the parents were the ones that bought the gun for him. Actually bought him a gun. And they were known to have said that their son was not stable. They took him to the shooting range, taught him how to shoot, left them unsupervised. And what makes this case different is that the parents were tried and sentenced, found guilty. They're doing time right now because of they should have known, vicarious liability. And absolutely, most of the shootings that have happened back in 10, 15 years, I've always thought, well, who's watching these kids? Wasn't there any signs? Sometimes there isn't, but in this case there was definite. And they actually held the parents accountable. Next semester, that's going to be one of our discussions in some class. I don't know where we'll put it in, but it's such an interesting case. So cyber theft involves the use of computer networks for criminal profit. There are some of the things. Identity theft, e-tailing fraud. Really, e-tailing, that's good. Different terminology. Pornography, prostitution, First Amendment, that's a big issue too. I don't know. It happens. Be aware. Not cool. Vandalism, malware, Trojan horses. They target, our school gets hit so hard every year. Fortunately, we haven't lost money yet. Other community colleges haven't been as lucky. Fraudulent enrollment. At the beginning of the semester, our classes fill so fast, and then we got to go in and figure out who are these people and get rid of them to open up seats for real students. It takes up so much time, but we're able so far to just barely keep up with it, with the amount of fraudulent activity. Our IT guys are doing a great job. The teachers are doing a good job of identifying fraudulent activity. Usually by the second, third week of the semester, we've weeded out all the bad players. Sometimes they get through, and when they do, they're collecting federal funding. That's the whole goal, to collect federal funds. And I don't know what kids get these days, but even if it's, say, $500 a semester, and they have 100,000 fraudulent enrollments, do the math. So it's profitable for them. So keep an eye out for that if you're gonna enroll in the fall, and if you don't get in, let that teacher know, hey, I'm a real student. So when you get rid of all the fake ones, I wanna see that happens. Cyberbullying, we talked about. Cyber warfare. Yeah, cyber espionage. Drones have come a long way. Now couple that, we talked about artificial intelligence, and we're just barely opening up a new era. It costs so much money to keep up with this fraudulent activity. They say billions of dollars. Most is not reported. If you get hacked, You fall for a scam, and it costs you $5,000 to clear everything out. Are you gonna go down to this police station and say, "Hey, officer, I'm a dummy. I got hacked. I believe." Most people won't, because they're embarrassed. Yeah, and that's what happens. Yeah.
And if you do report it, what can they even do?
Probably nothing. That's the sad part. What can you do? These bad players are sitting in another country somewhere. Talk about extradition. We don't even know who's responsible. We don't know what laws are applicable, and we don't know who's going to pursue it to find these people guilty of any crime. It's huge and it's bad. Yeah.
Wasn't that the same route that they ended up having to take to bring down Silk Road from the dark web?
What was it called?
Silk Road.
Silk
It
Road.
was
Never
it was
heard.
like a different factor of the internet that they
Yeah.
had, that they were pushing. They're trafficking humans. They're trafficking.
Oh,
cars,
wow.
and everything like that. And
Yeah.
you just buy it online and it would just show up. And it was an entire infrastructure that they created, but it's still around.
Yeah, I've heard of the dark web. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. No, I didn't know about that. Yeah.
I will say that Silk Road was mostly used for the drug trade, though.
Drug trade.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had something like kind of interesting to kind of answer, I guess, what you were saying was, in a lot of places on the dark web, especially with like human trafficking or like child stuff,
Yeah.
you have to buy your way into it, but you also have to contribute something. So that's why the government can't really do anything about it,
Yeah.
because they can like buy it,
Right.
like, but they can't do anything to like
No,
contribute.
you got to commit a crime to get
Exactly.
in. Yeah.
So a lot of the people that are actually stopping these like groups or like the subsections, because once you get into it, it's like subsection after
Oh, yeah.
subsection.
Yeah.
So a lot of people that are like actually stopping that is the group like Anonymous is like a huge one that actually took down like the biggest child like trafficking organization on the dark web, which was crazy.
The ugly underbelly of the web. Right? Yeah. What else we got? Controlling it, don't know how are we going to enforce it? God knows, I don't have no answers. They try, the government does their best, individuals probably have more authority that way.
I
Yeah.
have a question, kind of like to go on that. It was just like the government, they can't really control anything like this.
No.
No matter the resources
No.
that they apply, they just don't have the know-how.
No.
And there's hacker communities like Anonymous that go in.
Yeah.
And they're kind of chased after by the government as well, because they've done some shady stuff as
Yeah,
well.
yeah.
Do they consider them like cyber vigilantes? Is that even a
This
thing,
is-
or is it relatively new?
My base of knowledge is like right here. This stuff is this is somebody out, and I don't have a clue how I know it's a problem, but who's gonna tackle it and how?
I feel like that would be a fair assessment, just because I mean they're like committing crimes to stop, like
Right.
to
But that's
overall
bad.
stop it. But
Being a
that's
bad
it's still
vigilante,
bad.
yeah.
But
I don't know. I don't know.
I think
Figure it
it's-
out, guys. That's your job. Yeah.
Are there any like online detectives, like police that specifically do dark web?
Yeah.
Um,
They do. Agency, Riverside, LA County, they all have someone, but they're not that effective. That's the problem. Yeah.
Yeah, even the Army now has a cyber division
Yeah.
as well.
Of course, they have to. But how effective are they?
Oh, cyber intel is still in its infancy, so
Yes, exactly. We're just seeing the tip of what the problem's going to be.
yeah.
And that's the world you're going to inherit.
Yeah.
Terrorism will be the last thing we talk about. Yeah. Terrorism! Terrorist act. We think of government terrorism, but there's local problems, hate crimes, right? Hate crimes. You do something just because of who somebody is? That doesn't make any sense. Too much hate.
Somewhere they live.
Yeah, where they live, what church they pray to, what God they believe in, socialization, alienation, what country you're from, if you have an accent, if you're short, you're tall, you're overweight, you're too thin, you're a girl, you're a guy, you like guys, you like girls. God dang, there's no shortage of excuses to hate somebody. And anything you could think of, there's somebody out there that hates them. Doesn't make sense. But how are you going to stop it? That's your task. We know the problem. Find the solution. Questions? Nobody?
Nope, I already know what it is.
Let me shut this bad boy off and I'll get you guys going.